Many years ago, you may or may not have accidentally hit me with a baseball. For many veterans, it's a case of make the team or seek out. You apologized. I suffered a very serious injury and you promised me a dinner, and I've never received that dinner, Jose.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe when I come back, because obviously we're leaving her after the game today, but maybe at some other time I can take you up on it. It's unfortunate that, we're both not here now, but, I guess life changes and our paths lead us somewhere, and I'm sure in the future at some point we'll be able to kind of make that happen.
I saw the look on your face when the crowd gave you the standing ovation. When you went to the plate, you obviously were expecting something, but the look on your face told me that it blew you away maybe even more than you thought it would.
Yeah, and I think nobody can prepare you for moments like that. So not a lot of people experience them. You can't really call people and ask them what it's going to be like because they're unique to each person anyways, and that gets paved with your history at a place and your relationship with the fans and all that. And yesterday was just a reminder of how good it was for the 10 years that I was here and how much people appreciate me and love me, and the feeling is mutual. So the one thing that I can say always is that I've enjoyed every single moment of being a Blue Jay when I was here. Ever since I got here until the day I left, people treated me with a lot of respect and love, and you can't ask for anything else as an athlete, so I'm forever grateful.
What would it mean for you to one day look out and see your name up on the wall of excellence?
I mean, I think that's ultimately what every athlete would like to happen. Not that that's what you play for, but once you play it somewhere for long enough, you want to be part of that group of players that's in the elite for the organization and whose name gets to be put on that wall and resonate and last for years with the organization and the fan base.
I don't know if a lot of people realize just how much the city and the country meant to you, from the stuff you did with your charity to all the appearances you made and the amount of time you spent here. Just how vital was Toronto and really the entire country of Canada to you during those 10 years?
I think you try to, connect with the local community. You try to give back as much as you can. That's not just with charities, businesses, it's creating jobs, it's having relationships, it's getting to know the real people, the fans, the people out on the streets, the people that become your friends, they're your neighbors that, just you get to know in your time here. And I feel like I did a good job of that because I have a lot of lasting relationships that people that I still keep up with and I expect to keep up for the rest of my life.
There are people that do that extra stuff because it's required in some ways, that they're told to do it by agents or whomever. Did you just do it simply because you love doing it?
I think it becomes natural to some people, and it just happened for me. So I didn't have to go out of my way to, make a big effort to make that happen. I just, for some reason, had great people around me at all times and just developed great relationships, and that's something that I'm very thankful for as well.
It's always interesting, the perception that people from the outside have of somebody, and then when somebody gets to know someone, they realize that there's more to them than that. A lot of fans know you as Joey Bats, the big home run hitter and all that, but there were a few years ago where I got to realize what an incredible human being you were. And tell me if you remember this. We were in Minneapolis, we were in Tampa Bay. It was the last game before the All-Star game, and the All-Star game was being played in Minneapolis. And I was talking to Josh Tolley about the travel hell that was going to happen for me to get from Tampa to Minneapolis with 2 or 3 flight connections, and then I was going to end up missing the entire media day. And then you, out of the goodness of your heart, asked me something. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, we had some seats on my plane that we were taking up there, and I remember that I asked you if you wanted to come with us, that it was totally okay, that you might not be able to bring your crew, but you could have definitely jumped on the plane with us. And obviously that's something for someone like me that I don't mind. I had developed somewhat of a relationship already with you at that point, so I knew what kind of person you were, and knowing that, I didn't mind having you on our plane. So you got to fly with some of my friends and family up to the All-Star game, and I think we all had fun.
And I got to see you in a different environment. And again, for you, growing up and becoming a professional baseball player, how did you separate, or how did you make sure that being a good person was at a certain level as well as being a good player? Because there are a lot of great players, but their attitudes can suck. And I looked at you and I'm like, no, this is a guy who actually understood that being a decent human being was also a part of it.
Well, I can't really say that all players are like that or that most of them are. I think you have to get to the right setting to get to know each person and get to the bottom of who they are and why they act a certain way in different places and different environments. So for me, I know that that's something you can control, and I think it comes from your home and how you were brought up, and being just real, being yourself, being honest and forthcoming with your personality. And some people are going to like you and some people are not, but you can control that. And being a player is something that even if you do everything right, you can still fail, and it's temporary because you can't be a baseball player for the rest of your life, but you are going to be a person until the day you pass away. So I just always had that outlook, and I just try to be myself as much as I can.
It was interesting hearing you address the horde of media before your first game back, and you were asked about, were you ever worried that you weren't going to come back or this was it for you? And I think back to when you were with Pittsburgh and you got traded to the Blue Jays, and people were still probably looking, saying, "Was this it for the guy?" Is it the same attitude that you had back then that allowed you to take advantage of the opportunity then that you carry today, that when maybe others were saying he's done, you knew that you weren't done?
At the end of the day, you got to believe in yourself. If you don't, nobody else is going to believe it for you or give you an opportunity. So I think as long as most people have that type of attitude, they can do most things that they set their mind to. They have to truly believe that, though, and not just kind of fool themselves with it. So I've always felt, still to this day, that I can be a player that can contribute to a major league franchise. And as long as those opportunities are the right ones for me at this point in my career, because of all that I've accomplished, I'm going to try to play baseball because I love this game, and that's the only reason why I'm here and trying to win championships. So if those opportunities show up, I'm going to continue to play as long as I can.
Do you look at Atlanta as a stepping stone as opposed to a missed opportunity for you?
Well, I mean, I still don't want to kind of think too much about what happened in Atlanta, just because I don't think there's been enough time, and I think my time was so short that it's going to be unfair no matter how I look at it. But they gave me a chance. 30 at-bats, I don't feel like it's a long time to kind of measure anything, but at least it brought me here to New York. I didn't have a spring training, so maybe, quote-unquote, that can be my spring training in the middle of the season. Not that that's what I had planned to be, but it seems how it's going to be playing out for me. As long as I can stick around with this team and help them win ball games and whatever might happen in the future.
It was one thing to put on a different uniform for the first time and feel, holy wow, this is weird, but to actually be standing at the plate at Rogers Center and seeing a Blue Jay pitcher throw to you. Can you even describe what that feeling was like the first time?
No, I mean, it's pretty strange, and I don't think I even understand it myself just yet. Maybe when I get out of here, I'll be able to kind of, from the distance or stepping back, analyze it and understand it a little bit better. But it was a little bit surreal and strange, and something that I didn't think was ever going to happen, but it did. So I dealt with it yesterday, and like I said, once I analyze it a little bit more when we're out of town, I'll be able to kind of see how I feel about it.
As you get older and priorities in life change, I mean, you have kids now, you're watching your girls grow up. Do you take a little more time to reflect on things as they happen, as opposed to waiting years before you can sit back and look at them?
No, I think it depends on what time of the year it is and if you're playing at the moment and stuff like that. So right now, just to be fair to myself and the Mets, I'm focused on playing. And like I said, just like I'm looking at, seeing how I feel about playing against, the Jays after I leave. I think everything else, as you still playing, I think you have to wait. That way you can focus every single day on contributing and kind of look at things afterwards. But if it's the off season or spring training where you're not in the middle of competition that matters, you can maybe think about it a little more at the moment.